In the nation's capital, the finals contenders for the 2025-2026 Ninja A-League season will be decided. Canberra sit pretty in third position, having guaranteed their finals berth a couple of weeks ago, but the Brisbane Roar will need competition points to ensure their season continues beyond today. Hello and welcome to McKellar Park. It's Canberra United taking on the Brisbane Roar for round 22 of the Ninja A-League. And this is what it's all to play for. Well, following Melbourne Victory's win over the Glory last night, it has put the Roar in 6th place. But as the Central Coast Mariners are currently playing bottom place Sydney, and a draw potentially with them will move them above Brisbane out of the 6. So plenty of things to be aware of as this game continues. Brisbane fully playing to keep their season alive. And when you look at the fixtures across these two sides, Brisbane did get the win when they played in January, putting an end to a 4-match winning streak for Canberra. But Canberra have been particularly dominant at home in this fixture. And you'll have to go all the way back to the 5th of December 2019 for the last time Brisbane had a victory in the nation's capital. Only one change in the matchday squad for Canberra United that drew against the Mariners 0-0 last week, as Kieran Baldwin comes in for Chiara Di Demizio. Tegan Bertolicio and Sienna Dale remain unavailable due to young Matilda's Asian Cup duty. Sally James kept her 5th clean sheet of the season last week against the Mariners. She was instrumental, pulling out 4 saves to ensure her team travelled back south with a valuable competition point. A couple of changes for the Raw side that won 5-2 against the Glory last week. Mariana Sidal comes back from suspension and straight into the starting 11. Kira Myers drops to the pine and Amali Cancella comes in for Stella Campbell. Momo Hayashi had a birthday to remember last week. The 31-year-old scored twice in the Raw's 5-2 win while also donning the captain's armband. Grayscale on Dubzone this week credited Anthony Jaganek's approach this season as his team has found ways to win, including finding goals when they really need to. Canberra's longest-serving coach has also taken his side to finals 2 seasons in a row. The central referee for today's match is Isabella Mostyn. She'll be assisted by Delphina Shakespeare and Alexis Turner. The 4th official is Nathan Shakespeare. It'll be Delphina Shakespeare's 126th and final match as an assistant referee in the Ninja A-League. She'll bow out in the same fixture that she refereed her debut in back on December 8, 2013. Been a true mainstay as an assistant referee throughout the Ninja A-League. While Brisbane Roar's coach Alex Smith says the mood around the group has been really good, particularly after his side's recent run of wins. He said the focus is on the group themselves to make sure they get all 3 competition points so they don't have to depend on anyone else. Of course, it is the penultimate match day of the regular season here in the Ninja A-League, and alongside me on the call, Ish Ferguson. Ish, so much riding on this game for both sides.
Yeah, we're down to the pointy end of the season, Georgia, and as you said, for Alex Smith and the Brisbane Roar, this is a must-win game. So it's tough to beat Canberra on home soil. They've struggled in the past doing that, so it'll be really interesting to see. They've come into this game with plenty of form, so I'm really looking forward to watching this one.
And of course, Canberra, well, they've guaranteed their finals. They could potentially the highest they can finish is 3rd, and they more or less have that guaranteed. They know that they have that home elimination final coming up in a couple of weeks. It's the Brisbane Roar. They could potentially get knocked out of finals altogether or host a home elimination, depending on the way results finish in this game.
Yeah, and these are the games that you love to play in when you're under so much pressure, and it's just a must-win. There's no kind of overthinking things. Brisbane Roar have come here today to get all 3 points from Canberra.
And given the fact that Brisbane have come off a couple of hefty wins, plenty of goal-scoring, Kai Season, also a player that's gotten her name on the score sheet a fair bit recently, how does that momentum build into a match like this?
It's momentum and it's confidence, and it's hugely beneficial coming into what is a really important game for both teams, but particularly for the Raw, just to make sure that they guarantee that spot in the top 6.
Tish Woods, she started in every single fixture this season for the Raw. Her 50th A-League women's appearance, all 50 for the Raw as well. And Chloe Lincoln back between the 6 after featuring for the Matildas in the Asian Cup just last month. And we're underway here in the nation's capital. It's Canberra United taking on the Brisbane Roar. Round 22 of the Ninja A-League, and plenty to play in this match. Robers, a long kick headed on by Heyman. Alessino looking to do some damage. She had a great run of form recently, of course, from that final game before the break, scoring a brace at home against the Western Sydney Wanderers. Sasaki releases Alessino down that right-hand side, looks to drive in immediately. Just cleared away, ensuing shot. Will look dangerous in the end and results in a goal kick. Sasaki just bolstering through.
Yeah, quality work from Sasaki. Playing in that central area, usually sits a little bit deeper, but reading the play when that ball goes down the right-hand flank to try and sit on the edge of the box and pick up any scraps. And it was a decent effort, just wasn't able to control the trajectory and keep it on target.
She has scored a couple of long-range shots, of course. The goal contributed to her so far this season came against the Melbourne Victory, was hefty deflection off a ball that Bethany Gordon struck well. We know that she has that in her arsenal. Robers looking down the line. Hawkins. There's a hefty tug of the shirt from Kaya Stevenson. Plenty of fight in this game.
Yeah, a little tug of the shirt from Hawkins on Stevenson. Stevenson's such a really technically gifted player, loves to play with the ball at her feet, trying to find those little pockets of space in between the defensive lines.
Beard, long ball. Well, looks like they'll count towards potentially the first shot of the game. There's a regulation catch there for Sally James.
Yeah, I thought the angle was probably a little bit better for where the ball was positioned for a right-footed free kick coming in. You tend to try and aim it towards the back post. It can float out away from the goalkeeper as well, but it wasn't the best delivery.
Another player coming off a pretty decent Asian Cup, and Angie Beard, of course, scored in that qualifying match to take the Philippines to the World Cup next year in Brazil.
Yeah, they've done some wonderful work building up the depth of the Philippines squad. They really set their stall out during the Asian Cup, had a very structured, defensive, organised block, but great to see them qualify for another World Cup.
Hayashi. Long ball over the top, and Janssen looks like to be the intended target, but Liz Anton was going to be there first. Through the middle, Christopherson. And Robers just to deal it back to James. And Grove dispossessed well by Studer.
It was a strong challenge by Studer, really putting the pressure on in these wide areas. Seeing Canberra, when that ball comes out to that wide flank, they didn't have too many options centrally. Players making runs into the wider channels, but not the ability to go back across and switch the point of attack.
Cuthbert dispossessed. Heyman with Grove on her side for support, takes it centrally for Hawkins, but just can't get the power behind it to trouble Chloe Lincoln. But positive signs to Canberra at home.
Well, it was great work from Grove to win the ball back from Ruth Cuthbert, transition quickly into Michelle Heyman. I think on reflection, that should have been a left-footed shot, tried to hit it with the outside of her right boot.
Almost went straight back down the other end with another clear ball through the middle. So let's have another look at that.
I mean, Ruth Cuthbert probably shouldn't get dispossessed there, but it was good, quick transition, great vision from Michelle Heyman. And Hawkins I just feel like maybe she's not confident on her left, Reba Cuthbert, sorry, confident on her left foot, but really should have hit that back across the goalkeeper rather than trying to go with her right.
Well, it's half-time as well, that Central Coast versus Sydney game, 0-0. So as it stands, Brisbane looking outside the 6. I wonder if they'll have someone at the game trying to keep them in close watch of what's happening there to know how their season can potentially end. Venta Janssen does well to keep the ball in. And Anton, with no other option, just to boot it long.
Yeah, Benty Jansen's been a wonderful signing for the Brisbane Roar. Had a period of time out with some injury, but she's just a really quality attacking player and has really bolstered this Brisbane Roar squad.
Scored a couple of weeks ago, of course, sitting third in that golden boot race, sitting at 8. And you look at it, we know, of course, we talk about the finals, but there's also other things these players individually have to play for as the season looks to end. Holly McNamara sitting at top on 12 at the moment, but you never know what can happen in these sort of games too. We've seen a lot of high-scoring affairs for the Roar in recent weeks. Potentially could be in for another bit of a shootout today.
Well, it's already proving to be quite a transitional game.
Miller looking, again, strong work from Taylor Young, who has been formidable in defence this season for Canberra. Alessino to Heyman, ball at her feet, plenty to run onto, really favouring that left-hand side. Cuthbert and then Hayashi bring down Heyman, and it's a free kick in a great position for Canberra.
That was excellent work. We see Michelle Heyman, still such a dangerous player in the Ninja A-League. Just trying to get Ruby Cuthbert on the inside. Momo Hayashi did well, closing down the space again, but just brought her down from behind. But this is definitely within shooting distance. Similar, that angle really towards the far post. There's that little gap between the Brisbane wall and the rest of the players. Lots of green players right on the edge of the 18-yard box towards the far post as well. Probably trying to run across the ball as it's delivered.
We know Bethany Gordon can shoot from this range as well, so will she try and deliver it on a platter for a teammate? Plenty of height on offer for Canberra. Will she go directly towards goal? Gordon was trying to direct it in and falls again to the feet of Sasaki, and Chloe Lincoln gets Silo quickly and well.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Gordon did try, and she was just trying to chip the ball into that kind of 6-yard box far post area. Didn't quite get enough on it. Sasaki with a follow-up shot from deep, but I mean, if I'm Gordon, I'm having a shot from there. I'm actually going to just test out Chloe Lincoln.
Well, they're a side that loves to score early as well, so it's part and parcel of their game to really try and put that pressure on. And Gordon and Heyman in particular have opened the scoring, I think, four times between them throughout the season. Miller winning the ball for her team. Bente Jansen goes to ground, clutching at the ankle. Not good signs for the Roar. Play continues on. Heyman to deliver to Christopherson. A little deflection there, and Lincoln just to keep a hold of the ball, and Bente Jansen still on the ground, so it looks like to be in a fair bit of discomfort, Ish.
Yeah, she's had a fair few issues with her ankle. She's copped some heavy challenges. Just her left ankle here. Yeah, you can see just as the contact of the ball made her ankle roll out. I mean, that makes me a bit squeamish. I've done that plenty of times, and she didn't move at all. You can see she's in quite a considerable bit of pain with the physio, just trying to get a little bit of movement, but that does not look good for Bente Jansen.
Yeah, so early into this game too, and as you said, has had not the best run with injuries, but has been just such a formidable force for the Roar throughout the season. Looking at her statistics in terms of how many goals she's not only scored but also contributed and assisted, she's such a key cog in that attacking line for them.
Yeah, that'll be a huge loss. So it'll be interesting to see. Looks like Kira Myers might be the one to be getting the call up. I definitely don't think we'll see any more from Bente Jansen in this match. Just going through set pieces, making sure that she knows her roles and responsibilities before she gets onto the pitch. But that's a huge blow for the Roar, particularly not just for this game, but trying to look ahead. If they do get the 3 points, they stay in the top 6. We talk about those elimination finals where you want the strongest squad available. At least they'll have a couple of week break between now and the elimination finals. It's good to see that she's up on her feet, but she still looks in a lot of discomfort.
Yeah, just to reiterate that point as well, because of the international break upcoming, won't be the elimination finals to the week of the 24th to the 26th of April, but Brisbane still you know, they could potentially have they're in the chance to have a home elimination final or not make finals altogether. So a lot riding here, and you know, if you're trying to play for a player as well, sometimes teams can really rally around those injured players. We've heard even earlier this season when Grace Kualamu did her ACL, Brisbane Roar spoke about how they're really trying to bring the fight out for her specifically after she went through another horrific injury.
Yeah, and Janssen was in tears as she came off then. Look, good positive signs that she's walking, and if all going well, she will have a good couple of weeks to try and rehabilitate that ankle.
Yeah, as Kira Myers comes on, her 18th appearance in the league, 29th overall, of course was with Melbourne City previously. Started last week as well, so will be very familiar with the players around her. Deep throw-in now for the Roar. Just really distressing scenes for Bente Janssen. Thoughts are with her. Hopefully we won't see her out for too long.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you've had issues before, that looks incredibly painful. As I say, I've had lots of experience with sprained ankles personally. I think she knows more than anything. May have heard something, but yeah, really sad to see her in so much discomfort.
Bobbing around, both teams just trying to put it as far out of danger as possible. Stevenson looking for support on the left-hand side. Seidel only able to find a Canberra player instead. Heyman versus Hayashi seems to be a prominent battle. We're seeing two key players and two captains for his sides going head-to-head consistently already.
Yeah, well, I think Momo Hayashi is probably giving Michelle Heyman a little bit of extra attention. Heyman, obviously, such a quality individual, and probably more so now. She always does still look for those balls in behind, but she's now coming a little bit deeper, try and link up play between the midfield and players in front of her and in those wide channels as well. And Momo's staying pretty close to her at this stage.
Hayashi. Oh, Heyman now giving chase. Ball crossed in and flashes past, and again, just a routine catch for James. She'll look to switch up the play down the other side. Grove. Happy to just push it in front of her, go for a run. And see Hawkins in front, drifting centrally, plenty of players out wide. And deflection keeps Hawkins on side, not to be.
Well, that was really great play from Grove, really showing how much pace she has. Drove towards Ruby Cuthbert on this right-hand side for Brisbane. The left-hand side for the Roar has been caught out a few times there. That ball, she was trying to come in and close down the ball. It went through her legs, and Hawkins just offside in that scenario. But there is space on this left-hand channel.
Yeah, Ruby Cuthbert, still a very young player, only 19 years of age, has been playing predominantly since we saw Leia Vali make that move across to Germany, so has almost been coming as that makeshift player. Had only her 13th appearance today, had 4 appearances prior to this season as well in the A-League.
Yeah, and it's all part of the learning, right? Especially when you're playing with more of a 3 at the back, and Studer tends to want to push forward a little bit more, so that means there's a lot of responsibility on Ruby Cuthbert just to try and understand when to go and close down the ball. You can see how central she is now with Studer dropping back into the defensive line for the Roar.
Yeah, all those things that you don't really learn until you get into those match day experiences, especially as a young defender as well.
Yeah, especially if you're playing with the 3 centre backs. The responsibility for all of those players, positioning-wise, understanding, and then again with Studer just to her right, having to get up, get back, and try and help her out on that right-hand side in that wide channel.
Woods and Beard again, once again standing over the ball. Fair way out from goal. Beard rather. And again, just had enough on it to invite the catch from Sally James. Almost gives a bit of a balk with it before launching it long. Studer versus Grove, the battle of the eights. Hayashi, almost a scorpion flick to continue that ball progression forward.
Calm down, guys.
Can hear from the coaches just telling the players just to calm down. There has been a lot of transition of possession. I don't think either team has really been able to maintain too much possession and control the tempo of the game. It's been very end-to-end, 18-yard box, 18-yard box.
Hawkins giving it her all, and smart work from Angie Beard. That's the experience of the defender, not to allow to be played into that corner. You're talking about that, we saw on the screen before, 59% to 41% possession, Canberra leading. It's just mainly because of that transitional play. No one's really able to string too many consecutive passes together, Ish.
Yeah, and sometimes that takes a little while for the game to settle. I think as the game progresses on, depending on, there's plenty of space out there. I think both teams are quite spread out, so the distances between their defensive line and their front line are really big.
Heyman looking to deliver it low. Hawkins goes down, waved away.
Oh, I wouldn't mind having another look at that, Georgia. Ruby Cuthbert having to come all the way over. Michelle Heyman with a lovely ball, kept it on the ground. Well, no, on the first instance, maybe looked like Ruby Cuthbert, but no, there was no contact there at all on Hawkins. She was still asking the question.
Clear line of sight from referee Isabella Mawson does make all the difference when it comes to those ones, but again, just another dangerous ball delivery. No surprise coming from Michelle Heyman. So much of her role has changed in the past couple of seasons since she last won that golden boot. Playing for Canberra United. Grove looking to put it on her right. Crosses in, looking at the back post. Taylor Young to Sasaki. Taylor Young goes down hard and has had a history of injuries too, particularly had a hip injury that kept her out of the whole season.
Yeah, there was a heavy contact from Medwin from behind. She's back on her feet. Just as that ball came out, she did really well to get herself between. Maybe just a bit more of a clumsy challenge more than anything.
Taylor Young started every single match this season. Led in the league for interceptions as well. Gordon looking for the head of Anton. Sasaki again. Oh, Marco Sasaki is ready to pounce at any ball that might come out to her.
Yeah, she got herself in a great position. Just reading the flight of the ball as it kind of popped back out. And just not able to get her shots on target at the moment. Just needs to keep her head down a little bit more, try and really continue her momentum through the ball when she's striking it.
Well, as the second half begins for Central Coast versus Sydney, still locked goalless at the moment, but of course we're keeping a close eye on that because of how that will affect the ladder in this match, and Brisbane season, of course, too. Canberra United, they've locked in that home elimination final in a couple of weeks' time. Alessino. He's looking to move that ball back. The switch up on offer for Canberra.
Yeah, and Brisbane are committing plenty of players forward, trying to really...
Hayashi. There's a heavy knock in the back there and it's straight into the pocket. And Emma Hawkins goes into the book. No surprise that's a yellow card there, Ish.
No, absolute, definite yellow card. And this is dangerous position. This is Momo Hayashi's sweet spot here. We've seen her so many times, that lovely, wonderful technique of her free kicks where she almost like hits down on the ball so it can kind of dip up and go over. A clumsy challenge from Hawkins to stop her progress. But that was a poor ball out from Sally James. Straight ball into midfield, always so dangerous. Not sure who she was looking for in that instance.
We always think about that goal that Hayashi scored from a free kick against Western United, and arguably one of the goals of the season last year too. So you know that she's capable of the spectacular. Hayashi. It's caught in the wall by Canberra. The first line of defence stopping it. And now Stevenson looking to bring it over the top. And this is an opportunity here. And Josie Studer. Look, Amy Medwin goes back-to-back in terms of goals scored.
Well, I think the Canberra defence just switched off as that ball came back in. Momo Hayashi, Kai Stevenson, lovely little look up just to dink the ball back over the Canberra defence. Taylor Young was in all sorts. And Medwin just sneaking behind at the back post. I did think maybe that first touch was a bit heavy and that Sally James might get to it, but she was able to tuck it into the back of the net before Sally James could come and compete.
Well, Amy Medwin scored her first goal for the Roar last season, has now gone back-to-back, and this is huge for the Roar. They're taking their destiny in their own hands. Another attempt there from Ashlyn Miller to also try and really keep this game moving. Well, now the energy of this game has completely shifted. We saw a couple of strong opportunities for Canberra early on. They're leading the shots and shots on target, but Brisbane scored the opener.
Yeah, it was wonderful vision from Kaya Stevenson. She just had a little look up, got the ball out of her feet, clipped it into the far post. The Canberra United defence were far too narrow. Taylor Young just getting caught out. You see the little foul here, not too much in that. But Amy Medwin did really well. Just read it. I did to that touch, first of all. I thought Sally James may have come out and absolutely cleaned her up, but she was able to get the second touch to make sure it went into the back of the net.
Anton Lowe. Christopherson looking for an opportunity inside, and Hayashi coming forth once more. It's going to be a real game at both ends for Momo Hayashi. Christopherson, a loftier ball this time, and Chloe Lincoln called upon. Of course, coming up against her former side, and 39 appearances for Canberra United, came through their academy ranks too. Plenty of these players she'd be very familiar with from her time there. Beard cutting off the opportunity for Christopherson, does well to keep it in play too.
Questions of a little nudge in the back from Angie Beard as she gave that ball away. She won it back incredibly well and then just played a straight pass. A little bit of contact from behind, but the referee was having none of it.
Rovers. Gordon looking back, Alessino back out wide. The invitation was on for Myers to come through. Taylor Young versus Hayashi, and Hayashi coming up the better in the physical battle. And Medwin had in two minds to throw that quickly and keep it moving instead. He was waiting for Studer.
Yeah, it was well backed by Beth Gordon as that quick transitional play. You see the pace of Amy Medwin on this right-hand side, really trying to put the Canberra United defence under pressure. As with Ashlyn Miller, they're trying to win the ball further up the pitch.
Long throw from Heyman. And again, Angie Beard. She's been everywhere. Huge pickup. Hawkins applying the pressure, and Lincoln. She's quick to go wide and get it away from danger. Look to go back for Myers. Lifted in the middle for Medwin. Grove looking over her shoulder just to keep the goal scorer away from her as much as she can. Medwin now with another opportunity. In two minds of whether that was a shot or a cross, really looking for the support of her teammate. Picked up by Canberra readily enough, however.
Yeah, I was thinking it may have been offside, but the whistle didn't come. Couldn't see the assistant referee. Hawkins gives Angie Beard another little nudge in the back. It's a good battle between those two at the moment. Both have a fair bit of pace. Angie Beard, incredibly experienced player. Just got herself between the ball and Hawkins. That's a couple of times. I think Hawkins needs to be a little bit careful here. She's already on a yellow.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that question.
If there's persistent fouling, she has had a couple of other ones, little nudges in the back, and she may get herself into a bit more trouble. Probably just needs to have a bit more caution.
Yeah, one of those situations. And, well, you look at the Raw's recruiting to bring in Angie Beard from Sweden to bolster their squad, considering the sheer amount of injuries that they've had this season, but also to give us some valuable playing minutes ahead of the Asian Cup. It really has been a great recruitment for them. Yeah,
she's an incredibly experienced player, especially with the loss of Liavali.
And the flag goes up for Heyman.
I think Michelle Heyman knew that she probably had strayed offside just slightly. Yeah, she's asking for another little push in the back. There's been a few little nudges in the back throughout this game. Isabella Mawson, as majority of the calls have been right. Maybe just didn't see enough in it to warrant, but Michelle Heyman still remonstrating with the assistant referee as well, asking the question.
Well, looking at the fouls, 7 across the two teams, 3 for Canberra, 4 for Brisbane. No surprise when there is so much at stake in this game for the Raw that it has become such a physical battle. And even looking at the other statistics, Brisbane Roar have a record of winning 7 games when they do score first. They've only lost 1 so far this season, so this has given them the upper hand.
Well, it's definitely made Canberra, they're going to have to look for a few more ways. I personally think when Grove down this left-hand side, saw a couple of times with Ruby Cuthbert, I think with Grove's pace for Canberra, trying to look for how they can overload this left-hand channel. We've seen a bit of play down the right-hand side for Canberra. But I think as we talk about the inexperience of Ruby Cuthbert in that central back three, I'd really be trying to ask some questions of her.
Christopherson stumbles but keeps her way. Heyman wanting to challenge Beard. And brought out for a corner. A goal kick, rather.
Yeah, and I mean, it was good play from Michelle Heyman. I just personally would want Michelle Heyman being in the centre. Rather than being the one who's providing those crosses, you want Michelle Heyman between the sticks where she can be most dangerous. She's got such a great instinct for goal.
She's only scored the 5 this season, of course, and even when you look at the run she had of 8 games without scoring too, so almost she equaled her record in terms of longest scoring runs. But as the leading goal scorer in this league, you know, it's a lot of us been asked her in recent seasons. Her role has really changed in what she's been expected of in Canberra as well.
Yeah, well, she's getting older, isn't she, Shell? So that's what happens. The legs start getting a little bit heavier. You can't do as much running, but her leadership and understanding of the game and driving this team forward. And Anthony Jagaranek understanding how important she is to that as well. She's just a great focal player, can hold up the ball with her back to goal. Someone who has just had an incredible A-League career.
Is it someone also to draw the attention of the defenders to allow some of those young ones to come through instead?
Yeah, exactly. If Michelle, we don't tend to see her. I mean, when I think of Michelle Heyman, I think of balls in behind one-on-ones with the keeper. Maybe now that slight yard of pace has come back a little bit. She's more of a link-up player where she can get the attention and then try and allow other players to run in behind her.
She has such a good delivery of the passes in to allow that to happen. So you want someone to play with the ball at their feet. And just a little look at that. A series of fouls there on Christopherson. Ball didn't fall kindly for Robers. Had to... And Sasha Grove almost joining the bench there with the Raw. Long throw from Studer. glances completely past the face of Sophia Christopherson.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Canberra are too keen on playing out from the back. Most times when Sally James is getting the ball, she is looking for those longer, more direct balls towards halfway into those wide channels. Interesting, they probably have had a little look, done the analysis on Brisbane, seeing that they like to commit players forward and trying to break out of that press and eliminate those 3 or 4 players that have stood really high on the Canberra defence.
Sally James happy to let it come to her feet this time. Stevenson looking to cause some havoc. Gordon wanting to go over that midfield. Sasaki delivering to Hawkins, and again Chloe Lincoln called upon there.
And that was really lovely play. And it actually started from a long ball from Sally James, direct ball. Michelle Heyman just cushioned it down really well. It came out, popped out to this left-hand side. Lovely positioning from Sasaki in between the lines. There was a big gap between Brisbane Roar's defensive line and their midfield line. A wonderful ball by Gordon, just to dink it in behind there.
Sasaki again looking for that long ball at the top. Lincoln really had to stagger her run there and the ball wasn't going to bounce close enough to her within the box. Rattling around. Canberra progressed slowly through the sideline. Robers. Heyman displaying her great technical ability again, just able to bring it within the box and then cleared away. Taylor Young, again, those long balls, we've seen them time and time again, Ish. Is that in part because of how compact the midfield is with the way the Brisbane have set up?
Yeah, I think there's just with Medwin, Stevenson, Miller pushing on, Myers on the other side. I think they're just trying to break out of the press. So the way you break through lines, you go through, you go over, you go around. And at this stage, they've got some players up the front who are good at holding the ball up. So they just think, right, we'll just try and eliminate all those Brisbane Roar players and then get a bit of link-up play as it goes forward. I would like to see them change it up a little bit, though. I think, you know, as time goes on, things like that can become predictable, and you always want to keep the other team guessing.
Stevenson. Again, Canberra being strong in their defence. It goes past the feet of Myers. I'm seeing the final third entries across both these teams be pretty even. 23 for Canberra, 20 for the Roar. As you've spoken about, it's a very transitional game for these two sides so far.
Yeah, well, I think with a more direct style of play as well, particularly what we've seen from Canberra and how they're trying to break out of this Brisbane Roar press, that makes sense. You know, the longer the pass, the more susceptible it is for a transition and a turnover of possession. Seeing here, you know, Roar committing those players forward. Just, there's no other option really for Canberra United but to play those more direct balls.
Hayashi. Down the line. Missed hit ball, and Canberra looking to pounce. Gordon with time on her side and space around her. Taylor Young slightly more central, and Hawkins loses her footing, and this is now we're seeing that transition come back in effect for the Roar. Miller to Stevenson. Always a play in support for Brisbane. Woods looking inside the box, and just enough there from Anton. Keeps in the field of play. We're seeing Brisbane string more and more consecutive passes together now.
Yeah, definitely the tempo has settled a little bit. especially Kai Stevenson, see her get on the ball all the time. She's always looking to probe and find pockets.
Stevenson again, and Medwin, and it flashes past the face of goal.
Kai Stevenson just always trying to make something happen. I love she's that really quintessential number 10. Always trying to, as she receives the ball, face forward as quickly as possible. Lovely little look up again. Amy Medwin getting in front, a really great run in front of Sally James, in front of Grove as well, and just inches away from putting the Roar 2 goals up.
Mighty mountain to climb then in terms of Canberra being able to send out this last game of the regular season, but huge for the Roar and taking control of their own destiny.
Josie Studer just giving a few afters to Hawkins, who was getting a little bit frustrated. Really important for her to just keep a calm head, as we said. Had a few little nudges in the back. Just needs to be aware of that persistent fouling on top of the yellow card that she's already received.
Very early in the game too, so just something she has to be very aware of.
Yeah, and it's also something for Brisbane Roar as a player of the opposition. Then you try and niggle at them, try and get them really frustrated, try and entice a reaction out of those players.
Sasha Grove, so high up. You know, we talk about her ability to really play up the field, and when she used to play for the Young Matildas, was as a wing-back too, but she's scored more goals this season than any other season that she's played in the Ninja A-League.
Yeah, well, it started on this left-hand side. She was getting a little bit of joy, but I think Medwin and Studer for Brisbane Roar have actually done really well against Taylor Young and Grove to really try and nullify those early opportunities that we saw for Canberra at the start of the first half.
That was an invitation for Stevenson. Brought down almost cynically and professionally from Michelle Heyman. She knew what a dangerous player she is. She helps her back up.
Yeah, a little smile from Michelle Heyman. I think Michelle Heyman's pretty lucky not to get a yellow card for that one. It was just wonderful anticipation from Kai Stevenson. Again, we see that technical ability goes one way, comes another. Just trying to always turn face forward, get the ball away from Michelle Heyman. It was a lazy challenge from Michelle. Again, I think she's a bit lucky there that she didn't see a yellow card.
Doing what she needs to do as a captain of her team to just stop that progression.
Yeah, that's it. Stop the progress. Yeah, she was the one where the ball was intercepted, so she tried to win it back from Stevenson.
Now the opportunity for the Roar. Miss-hit long ball from Canberra, and again, the side more likely to string the passes together to try and progress. Sasaki dropping deep to come up in support. And the possession, first 10 to 15 minutes, we saw it around that 53%. Now at 60% for Canberra.
Yeah, Roar is starting to work their way back into it. There's a few little passages of play. But really, I think it's the areas of possession for Canberra. They are trying to, again, we see Brisbane Roar, Medwin, Miller, high press. They've decided to play out. I'm happy to see them try something different. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Commentator's curse, isn't it? But I think that's also credit to the Brisbane Roar and how well they're pressing. But I think Canberra probably just a little bit static in those midfield areas. I saw Sally James give the ball away, playing a straight pass into midfield. So probably they're very cautious about where they turn over possession or potential areas of risk where they turn over possession.
We talk about while the possession is sitting with Canberra a little bit more, Roar have come back in terms of final third entries, in terms of shots as well as Hawkins brought down again.
Yeah, Ruby Cuthbert just, I think she got a little bit tangled or just almost like started, yeah, just well, she tried to come around Hawkins, didn't she, get that long leg? You can see her stature and just went right through the back of Hawkins. Hawkins with a very frustrated look straight towards the referee. And again, Isabella Mawson doesn't see a yellow card deserved in that case. I think Beth Gordon here, I'd really like to see her. That space between the wall and the players, just drive it in nice and low.
Gordon, again, the floating cross goes to the head for Christopherson. Well, it heads it back, and Sasaki this time Won't go and try and hit it on that right boot, first option. The punch over the top from Lincoln. She'll have to roll to get back up. Hayashi helps her. Sasaki. Alcino. A bit more patience here from Canberra. Wanting to treasure this opportunity. Grove. Headed by Gordon, but all the power taken out of it by the time it comes to Lincoln.
Well, it'd be nice for one of her teammates, Grove, just popping that ball up in here as we see Chloe Lincoln come through, take out Angie Beard as she punches the ball away. And that ball came back in. I think Beth Gordon didn't have anyone marking her. One of those times where you just want your teammates to give you a little shout. Maybe you could take the additional touch. She was very far out. It was on the edge of the 18-yard box. So it'd have to be an extraordinary header, I think, to get past Chloe Lincoln.
Yeah, Chloe Lincoln, I've seen her ability as well to shot stop at close range, especially here at McCallum Park over the years. So we're very familiar at these grounds. Myers wins back the ball for Brisbane, completely blocked by Christopherson. We'll see the first corner of the match.
Let's go, Ruby! Get a goal here!
Yeah, Ashley Miller just having a little look up. It was well defended in the end. Christopherson back wide. Let's see how they... Ashley Miller's just going to give Sally James a little bit of attention. Raw plays, there's Tish Woods up, right, number 2. We'll have a look what that means here, how they're set up. Momo Hayashi, I think, is probably the biggest danger for Brisbane Raw. For someone who's probably on the shorter side for a player, her timing once and reading the flight of the ball is great.
She's lurking back post. Tish Woods delivered in the middle and parried away with one hand by James. Enough. Just keep it away from danger. Sasaki wants to play down the line to Grove. And here, Alcino, no opportunity to run further onto it. Grove keeping the ball moving. And Stu does well to get in front of the body, but Hawkins brought down once more. No surprise, we have another free kick for Canberra. Waves away any process from Studer.
I'm surprised that that's not a yellow card. Look, from that moment there, Josie Studer had her arm and a handful of Hawkins' jersey the whole time. I think she's very lucky not to get a yellow card in that scenario. I mean, it was evident from as soon as Hawkins got in behind her. Lots and lots of players in the box now. Again, I think for Gordon, just trying to whip the ball in, almost between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot, keeping it nice and low. It could deflect off one of the Brisbane players.
Bethany Gordon, low ball in, dealt with at the first post. Canberra have been sharp in these circumstances when they've won a free kick and then it's come back through, bubbles around a bit. Robers is looking to challenge Siddell. Woods. Medwin, acres of space and speed to burn. Amy Medwin pops it up in the air, and that's composure from James.
Well, it was a wonderful ball from left to right into that wide channel on the right-hand side for Amy Medwin, but she didn't have too many. All there was Ashlyn Miller trying to keep up with her, get in front of Sally James, but it was a pretty comfortable take in the end. That's where you really want the Raw to commit more players into that 18-yard box when Amy Medwin is in such a great position.
She's been in really great positioning throughout the entire game. Of course, is the goal scorer, but seemingly has been a new role, was at Western United previously too, come across to the Raw this season. Gordon. Sasaki out wide. Robers has her head up, pops it up in the air, Heyman. But Lincoln just had two strong hands to the ball.
That was a great take from Lincoln. Robers just popping that ball, looking for Michelle Heyman. That's where I want to see Michelle Heyman, in the center of the goal. Chloe Lincoln came and took that really confidently.
Well, 2 minutes of additional time in, 3 minutes of additional time in this first half. Plenty of action. It's flown by in the blink of an eye. Hawkins and Beard. Hawkins doing well to not try and concede any fouls. She's been the most fouled player on the pitch in this first half, but also the only player with a yellow card. So she's been involved in both ends of the contest.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised she is the player with the yellow card, but she's definitely been getting plenty of attention. And I think as a opposition player, when you see someone a little bit frustrated, then you do try and entice them into increasing that frustration as well. But she has managed to calm herself down.
I wonder if the technical term is bait officially.
Niggle. Niggle might be the one, Georgia. I would say niggle.
Taylor Young, great intercept to stream through. Cuts it back, puts it in the center for Sasaki. And again, this choice to go out wide to Christopherson. Delivered high, and again, flashing over. The head's in the box. Grove available in support. And frustration evident from Ashlyn Miller. Canberra, well, they're really pushing as a side that doesn't want to go down at the halftime, when they go into the sheds at halftime.
Hear the call from the bench, away Tish. Brisbane not wanting to take any risks this close to half-time.
Great from Hawkins there, just to completely come around. She wants to keep the play moving. Again, this has been Canberra's through a lot of this season, just how quickly want to take those throw-ins and catch their opposition not quite set up and unaware. Hayashi, a squaring ball across. Stevenson looks to goal, and again, and great work from Sally James to be down low to take that shot.
How quality, Momo Hayashi just getting herself in between, playing a great ball across to Stevenson. She'll be really disappointed she didn't do better with that. She also had Ashlyn Miller right in the center of the park.
Well, it's been an end-to-end first 45 minutes of this game. Amy Medwin has been the difference, and well, the Roar are putting themselves in the best position possible to make sure that they go on to finals after the last round of this Ninja A-League season. And of course, a huge, another 45 coming up after this. And of course, with the results of that Central Coast versus Sydney game still in the balance, there's no guarantees in football, and there's no guarantees in the unpredictable nature of the Ninja A-League. And it is halftime here at McCullough Park. It's Canberra United 0, Brisbane Roar 1. Let's have a look at the highlights across the first half. There's plenty of end-to-end action right from that first whistle-ish.
Well, Sasha Grove and Michelle Heyman, that was a lovely ball, quick transition. I think Emma Hawkins would be really disappointed. Personally think she should have gone with her left foot there. She was in a good position just to tuck that into the near post. And it was a really promising start, but this vision and delivery from Kaya Stevenson, we know her quality. Amy Medwin, I think, has been great on the right-hand side for the Roar. Sneaks in at the back post behind Taylor Young. As the ball skids away, she was able to get it down with her chest and toe poke it in to the goal to give Roar the lead.
Yeah, a huge moment there for Amy Medwin. Only scored her first goal for the Roar last week and has now gone back-to-back as well. And plenty of other things to be very excited about as we see, again, another opportunity, the same players involved there too.
Yeah, Kai Stevenson's been really impressive this game, always just trying to get her head up, look for her teammates. I think that was inches away from Medwin getting her second of the afternoon. And this ball in, looking for the head of Michelle Heyman, but Chloe Lincoln's been pretty strong in the Brisbane Roar goal. Hasn't been tested a lot though.
Yeah, well, let's look at the match stats. 5 shots for Canberra, 3 on target, 6 for the Roar, 3 on target. But however, the possession heavily favouring. The fouls is probably the thing we'll keep a close eye across in that second half. 7 for the Roar, but only the 1 yellow card, that to Emma Hawkins for Canberra United.
Yeah, it's. I think that's a pretty good summary of the game at the moment. I think Canberra United will have to look for more opportunities to put some more pressure on Chloe Lincoln in the Roar goal.
That's right. Well, you're watching Canberra United taking on Brisbane Roar in round 22 of the Ninja A-League. A huge second half coming up very soon.
There's no place for races unless you also do my school. Play fair. Players are illegal without aiming. If you possess or play a player, there are severe penalties for the play. Any spectator identified with a prohibited item may be refused entry. Evicted from the stadium, potentially banned from attending future matches, and handed over to police for further questioning. Financial fine may also be issued. We are committed to providing a safe and enjoyable environment for all players, and ask you to respect your fellow spectators by refraining from illegal and dangerous activities. It is a mistake that any spectator going to the field of play without authorization. When spectators enter the field of play without authorization will be evicted from the stadium, potentially banned from attending future matches, and handed over to police. The APL is committed to providing a safe and enjoyable environment for everyone. We ask you to respect the standards of matches and not particularly for the name of the country.
That's right, we're here at McCullough Park. It's been a very exciting first 45 minutes of action, and well, someone to keep a very close eye on is Chloe Lincoln at just 21. She went from out of the squad to starting goalkeeper in the Asian Cup opener in less than a week. And let's have our first choice goalkeeper, Mackenzie Arnold, was sidelined with a calf niggle, while number 2, Jada Wyman, went down with a knee injury, thrusting Chloe Lincoln into a starting position. Told late in the afternoon before kickoff she had barely 24 hours to process it all before walking out in Perth on the biggest stage. Let's have a listen to the young goalkeeper from Perth who was suddenly thrown into the spotlight.
Benny, the Matildas manager, actually called me and sort of just said, do you want to go to an Asian Cup? And I didn't really know what to say, really. I was a bit in shock and I was like, really? I was very much expecting to play more of a supporting role on the bench and helping Macca and Jada, and it all really happened in the space of the day before the game, walking out and singing the national anthem and everything like that. It was like an out-of-body experience. I was very lucky. Macca, even Sam spoke to me as well and just sort of said, you know, you'll be okay, you've done this before, just ease yourself into the game, it's just another game. It was all very simple messaging, but I think knowing that it came from those girls made it very comforting. I was very lucky that I had a good team in front of me, in the sense that I really didn't have much to do both those games.
Direct again, straight to Lincoln.
And being in that environment for such a long period over a tournament, you get to pick up so much. The standard that they hold themselves to, and then the professionalism off the field too, make sure they've done everything they can in terms of recovery and nutrition and all those things that are one percenters, but they add up over time. And as much as I possibly can, I'm trying to bring that into the Brisbane environment, just to try and keep myself hopefully ready if there was another opportunity to go into camp, and also to try and help lift the standard of the team as well and the girls around me and help make us better. Getting the opportunity to try and save shots from Mary Fowler, Sam Kerr, Caitlin Ford, you have to be so much better to try and make saves against them. Mary especially, she can strike a ball, oh my gosh, very, very well. She's got probably one of the firmest shots I've ever faced, yeah. I think once you get a sort of taste of it, it's just, yeah, I haven't stopped thinking about it since I got back, to be honest, about how much I love the experience and how much I just want to be a part of it again. So, yeah, it was definitely a pinch me moment for sure, and very, very grateful for the opportunity. Now looking back on it, it was an incredible experience.
How fantastic to hear from a young player built in the Ninja A-League, now going on to represent Australia on the national stage at the Asian Cup just a couple of weeks ago. Well, of course, this game at hand has been very exciting with plenty of action. Let's have another look at the highlights and the goals from the first half. All the work done here from the start from Kaya Stevenson.
It was beautiful vision from Kaya Stevenson to see Amy Medwin at the back post just sneak in behind Taylor Young. Lovely little ball just dinked into the area. Skidded kind of away from Amy Medwin. I thought maybe that touch could have been difficult for her, but she was able to get a touch on it before Sally James came out to smother the shot.
Of course, this is just one of the fixtures across round 22. Very importantly, that game in progress right now, Central Coast Mariners versus Sydney, still currently locked at 0-0, but will have a massive bearing on how Brisbane potentially will be able to finish on the ladder. They have the opportunity potentially to leapfrog into fourth with this current score, or if they go down and lose and Central Coast manage to get a win, who knows what can happen. This is the look at the live ladder at the moment. It does, of course, bring Melbourne Victory up into that fifth position. A look at the ladder at the moment. Melbourne Victory sitting in fifth, Brisbane in 20 with 28 points, but my goodness, it's a tight end to the season, Ish.
It's a tight end to the season. It's still 0-0 with the Mariners with only 5 minutes to go. So that's a huge result. That'll help Brisbane in this current context as well. But Brisbane will all be out to finish this game off and still get all 3 points. They built some really good momentum over the previous few games.
And of course, that big second half of action coming up very shortly. second half will be underway soon. Ninja A-League fans, now's your chance. Scan the QR code to unlock a new Ninja A-League Women Heroes Pack. Register free and go into the draw to win one of 3 epic prizes. The first prize is being drawn on April 6th, where you can have the opportunity to win 4 A-League Women Finals tickets, a signed Ninja A-League's women's shirt of your choice, and a Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 portable glass air fryer. Head to aleagues.com.au/heroes and get in the action. It was a huge first half here at McCullough Park. Goal from Amy Medwin in the 20th minute. The difference between these two sides looks to be in great goal scoring form. The Tasmanian, of course, made the move across from Western United in the off-season and seemingly finding great run of form in the back end of the home and away. Ish Ferguson.
Yeah, she's doing really well in those wide areas. Can play at the back, up front. Just got great speed and mobility.
So some substitutions here. Kaya Stevenson coming off with a suspected concussion, was instrumental with the assist in that first goal. Also had some great runs throughout that first half. We'll see the introduction of Amali Kinsella, as well as a substitution for Canberra with Emma Robers coming off and Alex McKenzie coming on. So both teams looking to the bench. Of course, there'll be a bit of a break between this game and when the elimination finals will be due to the international break. The elimination finals will be due to take place in the weekend between the 24th to the 26th of April. We are back underway here at McCullough Park.
Yeah, real shame to see Kaya Stevenson suffering from a suspected concussion. I think she was really instrumental and looked dangerous for Brisbane Roar in that first half. Always very tidy on the ball, always looking to face forward as she receives it.
So 2 really early substitutions there, and of course with the concussion you do have the opportunity to bring a player back on, but an extra substitution window, but it does mean with Bente Jansen off with an injury, it's not good for the Roar at the moment.
Well, you just, trying to see this game out, so play what's in front of you and focus on trying to get the 3 points, get them into a nice strong position going into the elimination finals, and then be really thankful that there's an international break where you can try and regroup and just reassess everyone and hopefully get them back on the park.
Yeah, the Brisbane Roar have had a bit of a horror run with injuries across the season. Of course, Sian Fryer with the ACL, Grace Kualamu. Tamika Gallup has made a return after a hamstring injury, but it hasn't been smooth sailing for the team in any way, shape or form, as Kinsella does well after a lot of pressure being applied on Sally James. Hayashi looking to turn around, face goal once more.
And just to your point, Georgia, about I think Alex Smith and the Raw staff have done a wonderful job with so much disruption for players, you know, not being able to have a consistent squad from start to finish and to be in the position that they are in now. I think Alex Smith's done really well with what he's had to deal with, what's put in front of him. There's that old saying, control the controllables. Those injuries, great Leah Varley getting signed to go overseas. But they've been able to just consistently keep building, and the last few games get some really positive momentum going.
He actually spoke about it a fair bit in the presser for this week too, just about that, you know, togetherness that we've seen in the side because they've had so many issues. The fight that the girls have had to display throughout the season, it has brought them together.
Yeah, and that happens, right? It's kind of stronger together. You understand. It's a heavy ball to the face from Ashlyn Miller as she fell as well.
It's one of those ones that are a real stinger as well. So just need a couple of moments to regather herself.
She's up on her feet, just a few little blinks of the eye. You know, Momo can put a fair bit of pace on it. It was trying to bring it down in her chest, just a tiny bit high for that. Just caught her almost up and under the chin. You have a little bite of the tongue as well from Ashlyn Miller. But yeah, that togetherness that you were talking about, Georgia, especially when you've had so many of those big injuries, so many of your key players as well, staying together as a team, as a unit, and even just understanding that you have to have that adaptability of players, formation, etc., to continue building that momentum. I think the Roar have done that really well, considering their circumstances.
Great touch from Heyman. Finds Alessino. Delivered in by Christopherson. Swinging away. Grove has to put it back in the mix, and Hayashi on full stretch with the back foot. Full balance on display from the Brisbane player. Brought back into the mixer by Hawkins and out for a goal kick. So positive signs from Canberra.
It was well done by Emma Hawkins as well. There was a little bit of contact from Tish Woods. Cut back inside. She got back straight to her feet and just trying to loop that ball into the far post. Just going a little bit wide. But she's been busy this whole game, Emma Hawkins. We know she's got the pace as well. A few little niggles in that first half.
Heyman immediately had a quick check over the shoulder before she gathered that ball. Lovely touch. Balacino wants to cut it back inside, put it on a preferred look. Christopherson up in the air. And easy as it comes for James to prevent any further attack from Canberra.
Yeah, it was really good play from Canberra. Bethany Gordon was in front of Sally James. I thought Olasino could have potentially played that ball a tiny bit earlier across goal.
Just trying to control that touch, get it on her preferred foot. It eats up so many valuable seconds and milliseconds when it comes to these matters.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Forward run, Amy! Forward run! Get behind!
Just hear the instructions from some of the coaching staff about Amy Medwin trying to get in behind, trying to push on a little bit higher up the pitch. There is space in that wide channel on that right-hand side.
Grove looking for an option. We'll just lay it off for Gordon. See the space that Hawkins was in. Now Grove loads up the foot and directly at her former teammate Lincoln. Two players who have spent so long together. Even that season, they were both at Western United.
Yeah, it was good vision. Emma Hawkins and Grove just following up. I mean, it was a pretty standard save for Chloe Lincoln. Michelle Heyman was just lurking around in that central area, though unmarked. Could have been another option for Grove.
Miller making her protests clear.
Yeah, and she was right. It should have been a raw throw-in. Alex Smith was off his chair. Wasn't happy with that decision, rightfully so.
Across the grounds, full time in Central Coast. Well, against Sydney, 0-0 the final score. So Brisbane, they have the upper hand. They've got that halfway through the door here for finals. Hawkins, again the deflection. So Canberra will see their first corner of the match.
Well, that is a disappointing result, I think, for the Central Coast Mariners. They'll be absolutely gutted. Again, had injury worries, players away, suspensions. And Sydney FC have really come back towards this end of the season.
Isabel Mawson just having a little bit of conversation with the players in the box. Karen Myers in particular. Conversations look like they'll be continuing a little bit further. No opportunity just yet for Josie Alessino.
Christopherson's right on Chloe Lincoln, staying as close to her as possible.
Alessino, near post, headed by Hayashi. And Taylor Young eventually booted away. Grove wanting Miller to take her on. Scuffed off the boot. Now Gordon putting the physical pressure. She comes through. Well, a couple of quick changes in possession. We'll see Hayashi go to ground.
Yeah, it wasn't too much in that one, but that'll relieve a little bit of the pressure on the Brisbane Roar. We haven't seen too much of the play in Canberra United's half. I think both players were looking at the ball. Momo Hayashi just got caught, just holding her left shoulder a little bit.
So 1,934 in attendance here at McCullough Park. We know that Canberra so consistently gets strong numbers to these games, and of course it's a huge one at that. Great to hear that read out across the loudspeaker.
Yeah, especially across Easter holidays, a lot of people, family, go away, try and take that time off for the school holidays. But Canberra United, I've played at McCullough Park a number of years. It's such a wonderful footballing ground, nice and small and compact.
Always hear how difficult of an away trip it is for many teams, and I think Leah Blaney, when she used to join us on Comes Before, her current role with the Japanese national team, always said it was a really tough game as an opposition player to come to.
Well, tough game, and Canberra have always been a really competitive team, well supported with quality players, internationals, a lot of Matildas have donned the green. And yeah, and they have such really good support and fan base in Canberra.
Mackenzie making it very clear that Josie Alessino was the intended target of the throw, receives it back, stuck in the legs of Kinsella. Miller. And the makeshift forward line. When you think about those players who are also unavailable, Daisy Brown was a hat-trick hero a couple of weeks ago against the Newcastle Jets. One of those players in the attack that has really, found her own in this Brisbane side, that not playing in this game, and she's currently, under 20s Asian Cup.
Yeah, which is wonderful for her. It's tough for Brisbane. Jansen going off with that ankle injury early on.
And that's huge. And a scuff shot from Lincoln, and Hawkins will dribble in time, just out. And Angie Beard tracked it all the way to that post. It'll result in another corner for Canberra. But that could have been dire situations for the Roar.
I mean, Chloe Lincoln just taking too long to make her decision to go long. Emma Hawkins with the deflection, and it just went inches wide. Hawkins did really well here. I mean, Chloe Lincoln tried to have another touch as well.
Now in the mix-up, Lincoln getting a hand to it. Woods confident to just boot it long. Great touch from Grove to bring it down. It draws applause from the crowd. And Hayashi just had that speed to cut in front. And the Canberra defenders absolutely smothering Hayashi in every direction.
Yeah, she did so well to play her safe out of trouble there. And then unfortunately, just a bit of lack of composure from Seidel on that left-hand side. Kicked the ball straight out. They're those type of moments, especially when you're under pressure here. The possession stats are heavily in Canberra's favour. 60% possession. When you have those moments to keep it, you really don't want to be wasteful with it.
Heyman dancing one way, then the other, able to cut through and find space so consistently. Sasaki. And Grove always lurking there. Puts it up in the air, hits the crossbar. And Medwin just again putting out for the sideline. The crowd really starting to get involved here at McCullough Park too. You can hear them urging on their team.
Yeah, there's lots of sustained pressure from Canberra. Sasha Grove just trying to dig that ball into the far post. The let off for Chloe Lincoln in the goal, coming off the crossbar.
Hawkins. We spoke about the fact that Canberra do have a great record at home. Of the 9 games they've played here, 6 wins, 1 draw, just 2 losses. One of the best results we've seen, of course, on par with them is Adelaide United and Melbourne City, but it's just one of those ones as we see a huge change here as Kira Myers comes off and Tamika Yallop comes on for the Brisbane Roar. Kira Myers had forced to come on due to that early injury to Bente Jansen in the first half. But when you're talking about a player who can bring so much energy, can be a proven goal scorer, Tamika Yallop has to be something, a game changer for this Raw side.
Yeah, and tough for Kira Myers to have been subbed on and then coming off again. but just trying to look at the personnel and what's happening. Just need a bit more composure in that central midfield area. So Momo Hayashi's doing a great job in there, but that's what Tamiki Yallop will bring. Just try and calm and keep a bit more possession, a bit more organising. Obviously know how experienced she is. Her leadership is so incredibly important to this team.
Sasaki again putting it high. Looking at the stats coming into this, Tamiki Yallop, the second most played against team is the second most goals she has in her arsenal is against Canberra United. But let's have a look at the ladder as it stands. That point to the Central Coast and that 0-0 draw puts them in 6th. Brisbane Roar leapfrog into 4th. That gives them a home elimination final as it stands. So, of course, lots of movement still happening. Melbourne Victory potentially, or have been knocked out of the finals at the moment.
Yeah, they'll be gutted to see what these results are. It's always really challenging when it's in the hand, when it's out of your control. I think Melbourne Victory players and staff, I know Jeff Hopkins well, you know, it's been a pretty inconsistent season from Melbourne Victory. Probably not what we've come to expect from them. They've made it difficult for themselves in certain games where I think, you know, we've always known them as this really solid defensive team.
Another beautiful ball in. Woods there looking towards goal and side netting. The transitional play from Brisbane can turn on a dime. They're able to just attack and pounce with such velocity.
Well, it was lovely combination play. Ashley Miller, really good vision to pick out Woods. I mean, for me, she was in such a great position. I'd be trying to hit it into that far corner across the goalkeeper. That's a big opportunity to just give them a bit more of a buffer the last half an hour of this game.
We were talking about the Melbourne Victory last night, even that Captain Kayla Morrison said she probably won't be wanting to be watching that one. Didn't want to add any extra anxiety to her life when it comes to knowing those results are out of the team's hands and relying on other teams to do what they need to be able to control what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's not a fun position to be in, that is for sure.
Alessino does well to stay up. Brought down. Play continues on. Yallop. Mackenzie being so clear in her direction, telling Sasha Grove to move down the pitch. Christopherson lays it out. Gordon sides her over the shot. The block effective by Woods. Sasaki down to, again, this time looking for Michelle Heyman in the box. Bit of variance from the opportunities going forward from Canberra. Gordon with a bit of a dig, and then great goal from the captain, Michelle Heyman! And Canberra have levelled it up here in the final game of the home and away.
Well, we see that player, Michelle Heyman. We want her in positions like that because we know that she can score those goals. Wonderful vision, Bethany Gordon. However, not enough pressure on the ball from me. From the raw, Tamiki Yallop was kind of there, but standing off her. And Bethany Gordon did a great job just bringing it back onto her right foot, changing the angle. And a wonderful little just glancing flicked header from Michelle Heyman to get them back on level terms.
Huge moment there, and well, it's the 4th assist of the season for Bethany Gordon and the 6th goal for Canberra. And of course, a really important 6th goal for Canberra for Heyman this season too. So we've now seen a level playing field. This game ended 3-1 when they faced off on the 23rd of January in Brisbane. It's the first victory in 5 matches for the Roar in this matchup. Now does make it a little bit more difficult knowing the other results.
Yeah, and look, I want to say I saw it was coming for Canberra. I think Brisbane were really camped in their own half. They didn't really have an outlet. They're struggling to have that outlet. They've won themselves a corner here, so good opportunity for a set piece. But They were absorbing a lot of pressure from Canberra and really dropped off the tempo of actually pushing out and closing players down.
Woods delivering to the near post, goes up in the air, bounces a couple of times, and Gordon just putting her body in front.
Yeah, that was well defended in the end. I think that was sneaking in at the near post.
And Canberra desperate to not to hold on to this draw at the very least. The defensive pressure has gone up another notch since they were able to find that equaliser. Well, it seems like the tables have turned a little bit, that little switch in momentum too.
Yeah, I think we'll probably just, you know, losing that focal player where they can be an outlet, play the ball up, trying to break out of a little bit of pressure.
Hawkins flicks it out wide. And a look there for Heyman. It's a beautiful ball over the top. Hayashi has her hand up. The flag stays down. And Heyman goes with a long shot. And again, the power dipping out of it. The further away it came from goal.
Yeah, probably a little bit too far out of Michelle Heyman's shooting range. There was Hawkins loitering in there though as well. Maybe it was just a little bit of indecision from Heyman.
And this time the flag goes up for Canberra United, so maybe a couple even cheers for the assistant referee.
She's retiring, isn't she? She is retiring.
Canberra local, so
yeah,
I would say she'd be pretty well known around these parts.
A little smile on the face as well. Some good support. Sometimes not always the case, is it, for our officials? So lovely to see a bit more positivity there and support.
Medwin in the middle. Woods and Gordon shoulder to shoulder.
It was good work from Bethany Gordon. She's really stepped up in this second half. That wonderful delivery for Michelle Heyman's goal.
She's a player that's really found her home since she made the move across from the Western Sydney Wanderers. Woods, Kinsella. Little flick.
Well, the momentum slightly shifted, I think, in Brisbane Roar's favour after they've conceded that goal. I thought they were absorbing a lot of pressure in the first 10 minutes or so of the first half, and this is the second corner in the last few minutes.
We saw that delivery to the near post last time. You see Bethany Gordon standing right beside it. The Roar players starting a bit further back this time. And Medwin then goes wide. There'll be another corner due to the deflection it took.
Yeah, Sasaki did really well there. I thought Amy Medwin was about to pounce on that and drill it into the back of the net. Sally James with a bit of a weak punch. That's quality work from Sasaki.
Almost a right hook coming through to just deliver that ball away. Woods again, this time similar position, and it's straight through to the back of the net. Well, Tish Woods, Olympico here at McCullough Park, and it's game on once more.
Well, Woods has had a couple of good deliveries, and I like that they've mixed it up as well. Went to that near post. The Raw players are huddled in the corner, just having a little moment to reset, have a chat together here. Woods aiming for that far post, beautiful trajectory on it. And just that Olympico tucking in over Sally James. It was It was busy around Sally James, which really made it difficult for her to be able to jump too high. I think there were some questions by the Canberra defenders to the referee, but it didn't look like there was anything in it.
Well, in her 50th appearance in the A-League Wigan, she notches her second goal, her first in over a year as well, but a massive one in the context of keeping this season alive for the Roar. So 2-1 now. A great response from the Roar, who were leading early in this game. And to bring it back the lead within less than 10 minutes after Canberra were able to equalise.
Yeah, as I say, there was definitely a shift in momentum. Canberra had the pressure on Brisbane. They kind of camped on their 18-yard box.
Now the Canberra United look to keep this ball moving and bring themselves back in contention. We've seen a couple of 3-3 draws between these two sides in the past. So you know there is quite a few high-scoring affairs between these two. Are we in for another one today?
We shall see. Still plenty of time in this match.
Mackenzie just overthinking that pass to Gordon. Yallop standing directly in the way. Not a player you want to see between you and the ball. Rattling around in the midfield between players' bodies. That's been that substitution for Canberra United as well. We have seen Josie Alessino come off and Darcy Malone come on as well after that goal was scored. So a couple little changes there for Canberra too.
Yep, some fresh legs. I think it's a harsh one. Those Olympicos are tough. I think Sally James is definitely, there was a lot of players around her, which made it difficult for her to get a good jump on the ball.
Grove. Deflection from Yallop, and it does just enough to find support. Malone, fresh legs in. Again, straight into the path of Yallop. So Tamika Yallop coming in and acting as a wrecking ball in some of these situations too.
Well, she's sitting very deep, as are the Raw defence.
Grove going towards goal. It would have been something spectacular from the number 8. It's just dipping away and curving away from the top corner. It has been a fairly exciting game. We've spoken about that transitional play. We've spoken about how much we have seen the ball go to either end. As Momo Hayashi again on the ground. Naoko Sasaki going into the book for a yellow card. Was that injury to Hayashi last season when Sasaki was playing for Adelaide United, where the two came together?
Yeah, Hayashi just, I mean, that's, yeah, fair call. I mean, little slide tackle from Sasaki, didn't quite get the ball. But I think for the Brisbane Roar, just need to be aware they're sitting quite deep. So when that ball does come back out for Canberra, they're quite happy just to stay in a defensive line on the 18-yard box. Maybe preferring to keep as many players around the ball rather than squeeze up and leaving space in behind. But it does mean that the Canberra players have a lot of time and opportunity, similar to what Bethany Gordon did, to be able to put their foot on it and maybe pick out someone like a Michelle Heyman.
See the ball just continue that back and forth, barely touching the ground now. The volleyball on display. Kinsella is the one to bring it to ground. Medwin, can she go again? Medwin, delivery backwards. Kinsella will have time. She'll put it back. Seidel, Woods, Sasaki causing so much trouble. And a misplaced pass there from Gordon. She's required to make the intervention. They'll go out for a corner there for the Roar, but that was a really tight circumstances.
Yeah, Bethany Gordon, just underweighted pass. Grove here, that one there, dangerous pass. Ashlyn Miller was onto it. And then desperation, had to clear that ball away. So where is Woods going to put this corner is the big question. There's a bit of a space near the near post.
Will she go again for another goal?
Well, I think what she's trying to do, there's so many players around Sally James. I think it's just put it into that area there and see what happens. If it drops a little bit further forward, Amy Medwin's there.
Woods again towards the back post, bounces off the heads, and calls for another corner are answered. And strong deliveries from Woods throughout this match.
Yeah, she's got a bit more height on that ball. Miller and Hayashi say, like, Momo Hayashi's great at reading the flight of the ball.
Woods. Again, that little palm away from James. It's all it is necessary for Canberra to get it out of danger.
Structure! Structure!
Hawkins can't quite control it.
Keep going, Murray. Go, Murray. Keep pushing.
Studer. Smart work there from Anton just to try and play it off the body of Miller. Off balance was Anton, and the lurking presence of Ashlyn Miller just so convenient on the press. A little bit of a push in the back there against Mackenzie, so Canberra to use that as a moment to reset.
Yeah, it was good positive play by James and Mackenzie, just trying to break out of that pressure. I thought actually Mackenzie did have the advantage, could have kept driving forward into that space.
Malone. Christopherson. Young almost caught off balance. Sasaki just putting it almost onto the knee of Woods. The Canberra keep a hold of it. Sasaki with the switch up of play. Taylor Young wanted to just keep zooming through like a train. Hawkins now putting it up in the air. Back post is Grove, and a great save at close range from Chloe Lincoln.
That was excellent work by Grove at the back post to get onto that ball. There was plenty of pace on it. She had to really commit. Hawkins, have a little look up. Delivered that over the head. I mean, that's well played by Chloe Lincoln. Could have snuck in at that near post.
Change here for Canberra. Naoki Sasaki coming off. Kieran Bobbin coming on. And after that previous yellow card, do you reckon that's also just keeping it? Of course, we know that there's a couple of weeks break. You want to keep these players on ice as much as possible. The corner delivered in by Canberra. Grove, floating ball. Malone, the fresh legs on display. Puts it in an awkward position for Gordon, and Hayashi more than happy to make sure that one goes out for a goal kick for her side.
Yeah, but continued pressure on the Brisbane Roar defence. Chloe Lincoln not rushing at all to try and take this. Canberra trying to put pressure on further up the pitch, forcing Brisbane Roar into playing it long and more direct.
Well, the instruction from Canberra coach Anthony Jagrenek is for Darcy Malone and Alex Mackenzie to swap. So those positioning players coming back to back.
Too much in that. Definite free kick. See Brisbane Roar quite happy to slow the game down, try and soak up as much time as possible. Even with that tactical change, Jagrenek just looking at ways to break down the Roar defence, create more opportunities. They haven't had a lot, I don't feel like. I mean, Sasha Grove, that probably last one was decent in the near post.
13 shots to 10 at the moment, 8 on target for Canberra, just the 4 for Brisbane, but they have that goal upper hand. Hawkins. Low for Bobbin. Across the face of goal, and Heyman just anticipating there was a player behind her.
Well, that was a great ball back across goal from Bobbin. Nice, low on the deck, driven. Michelle Heyman was in a decent position. It just went slightly behind her. She was, looks like she almost hesitated, didn't she? Maybe thinking that there was someone else coming in behind her with a better angle to have that strike on goal.
Grove. Holding her line just a moment. The ball back. Does well to keep it in. Speed to burn still. With 80 minutes played in this game. Mackenzie gets the pass away to Grove again, puts it up. Heyman the target. Ahead of Hawkins, connected instead, and will go out for a goal kick there.
And they're still probing, still trying to unlock this Brisbane Roar defence. I saw it previously. I think Hawkins has had a really good game. I think has been involved in a lot of her movement. We've seen her on the right-hand side, on that left-hand side, delivering in balls. Being nice and positive.
We spoke a little bit in the first half about the fact that, you know, she was in these contests with getting quite frustrated, had a yellow card early to her name. Feels like she's still involved, but has tempered a bit her mental. Do you think that she's just had that adjustment after halftime?
Yeah, I think even towards like the back end of the second half, there was just a bit more calmness in it. There was a little bit of frustration. You know, a few of those little niggles. There was a little tussle with Josie Studer. I think, you know, someone who's been in those situations, if you see the opposition getting frustrated, then you just try and frustrate them a little bit more, try and entice a reaction out of them. But she had a nice little reset and has been really good today for Canberra.
Kinsella looking wide. Hayashi. A run from Miller and a complete tangle of feet with Grove.
Alex Smith isn't happy, asking the question about that tackle from Sasha Grove on Ashlyn Miller. She didn't get the ball. She definitely collected Ashlyn Miller. Isabella Mawson decided just to give Raw that throw in. The bench were not happy at all on their feet.
Now Hawkins staggered the run, let the ball take a bounce, putting it wide for Heyman. Bobbin in the box. Plays it Lauren. Now Malone. Grove still, so many questions being asked of her time and time again. She answers each time, puts it high in. And now Heyman. And another fingertip save from Chloe Lincoln along the ground, resulting in a Canberra corner.
A great save from Chloe Lincoln. A little smile on the face there. It was a wonderful ball in from Grove. I thought Hawkins really didn't commit to it as that ball came in. Hawkins just ran into it, maybe a slight touch from Studer. That first time strike was going into that far post. Great save by Lincoln.
Gordon, lofty ball. And Yallop will look to pull it out. Well, look, if you watch the halftime package, and Chloe Lincoln spoke about being in the Matildas camp, really having to fight against, you know, having training against Mary Fowler, and, you know, having those hard shots come against her, it's a great opportunity for a goalkeeping.
Well, I mean, she got a great opportunity to start some matches in the Asian Cup. Some unfortunate injuries. But, you know, that's all crucial international experience as a goalkeeper. She didn't have a lot to do in those games, though, Chloe Lincoln, which I'm sure she was quite happy about.
Gordon. Through the middle. Taylor Young brings it central. McKenzie to Heyman. This time will go, scuffs off the boot a little bit and spends plenty of hang time in the air. So some changes happening here. So Michelle Heyman to come off. Lillian Scully to come on, as well as Sophia Christopherson and Mary Stanish-Floody to come on as well. So some attacking changes, really. We know Stanish-Floody has been capable of so many incredible goals across the Ninja A-League, long-range shots in particular too. And of course, Lillian Scully coming back from an ACL injury has kept her away for most of this season. Bobbin over the top of Studer, and no surprise that Isabel Mawson's blown a whistle there.
Yeah, Josie Studer did really well here. Just kind of got her arm across, held nice and strong. Bobbin just all over her, straight through the back of Josie Studer. Talk about just being able to absorb the pressure, try and slow the game down, try and get those seconds to tick away. But Anthony Jagaranek emptying his bench basically and just looking for the fresh legs. I mean, they're a goal down. They're still in that top 6. Would like to go into those elimination finals, I think, with at least something out of this game.
Well, Kinsella, strong tug of the shirt. And Alex McKenzie. It was last season as well. We saw in the penultimate round that Canberra knocked out Brisbane in the finals placing as well. Of course, that 4-4 draw for Brisbane at home didn't do them any favours. That famous footage of Canberra watching the final minutes and realising they'd booked their ticket into finals for the first time in 4 years. Miller giving her her all, but just the effects of this game probably taking effect. It's still quite cool conditions in Canberra today, but doesn't make a difference considering what has been asked and expected of her across the 86 minutes so far.
Yeah, you can see a bit of fatigue coming in from Ashlyn Miller, slow to get back on side. There's been a lot of running, chasing done by her today. I actually think she's probably better off there, just dropping straight on top of her midfield rather than going to try and chase the ball by herself. She's a bit isolated up there. Just try and conserve some energy in these final moments, try and help keep this defensive structure and organisation for the Roar.
Well, still Ava Piazza and Kyla Hansen on the bench for Brisbane. They did use a half-time sub and a concussion sub, so they still have some windows of opportunity. Well, Ashlyn Miller getting some pickle juice as well in the back of play just to get her back on her feet.
The magic pickle juice, and that ball going into the far post. Sasha Grove was just asking a little question. Thought she got a little nudge in the back in the box as well. Not too much in that. And again, Chloe Lincoln just doing really well. This is all about the game management now. Trying to be quite intelligent with seeing this game out. Not in any particular hurry to take the goal kick.
Stanish-Floody decides to just use the boot to hoof it down. Well, Canberra almost trying to trap Brisbane deep in their own half for the remainder of this game.
Well, I think Brisbane are also sitting pretty deep. I think getting towards, there are some heavy legs out there. They're just trying to absorb a little bit more pressure. And it is difficult when you've got a lot of players in front of you, deep in their half, in front of the goal. It's hard to pick out your teammates for those really clear-cut opportunities.
And again, we're talking about that fatigue. It's really setting in terms of these players maybe not having that decision-making and the touch of this time because of how hard-fought this game is. Instead, just trying to go for those opportunities to just keep it out of danger as long as possible.
Yeah, I think Momo Hayashi was probably just trying to pop that ball into the corner.
Back in, come on. Take the straight, Haley. Fire,
Taylor Young. Well, look at the live ladder. It's knocked Central Coast Mariners down to 7th position. Melbourne Victory back in the 6th with this score, with Brisbane in front. Even if Brisbane still go on to draw, and as Gordon looks to launch a shot, he'll still be within the 6.
Yeah, Bethany Gordon just couldn't quite catch that shot to get it on target. I was just having a little think about Jeff Hopkins and the Melbourne Victory players, whether they are watching this or whether it's easier for them just to keep a little check on the score. Some stressful moments towards the end of this game. They would have been very happy to hear about.
Well, it's a yellow card for Chloe Lincoln.
Yeah, I think it was definitely coming, Georgia. I think in the previous goal kick, she just made contact before the referee had blown the whistle to try and hurry her up. So, didn't have...
Oh, now she's... Well, she was one of their own for so long, the Canberra faithful. As we'll see, 5 minutes of time added on in this to finish off this game, and still has plenty of fight in it. Bobbin by Studer, another corner for the team in green.
No, it's being given as a goal kick, so there was a slight little deflection there. I think the assistant referee caught that one, changed the decision, and let's see, Chloe Lincoln's going to be taking this. I mean, yeah, absolutely do not want her to get a red card and miss out on that elimination final.
Would be...
It'd be a disaster.
I did see Talia Franco come in for when she was on that Matilda's duty. Otherwise, it has been Chloe Lincoln all the way. Probably it would be the first time we've seen, definitely in the season, 2 yellows for time wasting, or if that was to be the case.
Yeah, it was definitely on the cards, I think, for Chloe Lincoln. She had a few opportunities at it. You could hear the referee willing her to take things a bit quicker.
Scully giving it her all. There'll be another goal kick now. Brisbane currently in the hot seat to actually host a home elimination final. That is how much this ladder can change in the blink of a moment.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the story of the season as well. It's just been, ups, downs. I don't think Melbourne City always up at the top of the table, but even they've had a little bit of inconsistencies in form, I guess, taken into consideration, a break for the Asian Cup, but then also the Asian Champions League.
Yeah. But always the unpredictable nature of the dub, and Tamika Yalla going down, clutching at that groin a little bit, just spun around a bit by Gordon.
Yeah, just had a little grab. Bethany Gordon on the inside of Tamika Yallop's thigh. Again, just a good opportunity to soak up a few more seconds for the Brisbane Roar.
Well done. Do you want tissue?
As it stands, well, spoke a little bit about it, but Brisbane haven't won in Canberra since 2019. Huge. And of course, Tamika Yallop was one of the players that scored on that day, and we see a penalty here.
Well, Hawkins, I think, has had a really good game. Ruby Cuthbert just sticking, well, just taking her out from behind. I think Ruby Cuthbert knew she was trying to get her leg across. Emma Hawkins did so well, though, just getting her body in between the ball and Ruby Cuthbert and drawing that foul.
It's been a tough day for the young defender. Well, we saw Mary Stanish-Flotti go for a penalty against Sydney, saved by Heather Hinds. Only penalty that Canberra have won so far this season, coming up against her former teammate. She had previously scored earlier in that game as well. So Stanish-Flotti in charge here. All to play. And a huge save from Chloe Lincoln. Well, that is massive from the Brisbane Roar keeper. She has been huge in this match.
Yeah, she read the right way. Really committed to a strong dive down to her right. And that is a huge let-off for the Roar, but a massively missed opportunity for Canberra United.
They still look to attack here. They still have some time. It's not in their favour. Scuffed out as well.
Stanish-Flotti keeping her head down, really put a lot of pace on, probably at a nice height for Chloe Lincoln. It almost hit the centre of her stomach, I think. She didn't have to actually dive for it, but she committed to the right. Probably very familiar with how Stanish-Flotti takes her penalties. That is a massive save in the dying minutes of this game.
Yeah, it has really come alive and been called upon in some key circumstances here for the Roar, so they can hold on to these 3 points. Well, we've gone past that 5 minutes, a lot of time. Of course, that penalty eating it up as Isabella Mawson blows the whistle. And Brisbane Roar do the double over Canberra in the home and away to book themselves not only into finals, but a home elimination final too. Saw goals from Amy Medwin, an Olympico from Tish Woods, and of course a goal from Canberra from Michelle Heyman, but Chloe Lincoln saving a penalty in the 93rd minute. 2,312 days it has been since the Brisbane Roar last took home 3 competition points from a trip to Canberra, and they do it again.
Yeah, it was a wonderful effort from Brisbane Roar, but a huge let-off with that penalty save in the dying stages of the game. They were absorbing a lot of pressure from Canberra in the second half, just able to hang on for that 3 points. It's been a long time coming for Brisbane Roar.
Absolutely huge game here, and Chloe Lincoln, very familiar with a lot of people here at McCullough Park. And it's a famous, famous victory for Brisbane Roar. Here at full time at McCullough Park, it is Canberra United 1, Brisbane Roar 2. So, of course, huge implications for how these elimination finals will play out. Of course, Amy Medwin, she did so much work in that first half, partnering really well with Kai Stevenson. Unfortunately, had to go off with a concussion sub at half time. And there was a lot of players being thrust into these situations, of course, due to injury or young Matilda's duty. So Ruby Cuthbert, a player who really didn't feature much in the first half of the season, coming in. Bethany Gore and Sasha Grove, well, they just play. Sasha Grove and Amy Medwin, of course, having played together at Western United, as has Angie Beard as well. They've all donned that green kit. But, of course, a huge blow very early in the game for the Roar too, with Bente Janssen going out with an ankle injury. No further comments as of yet for the Roar, but I think they'll be looking forward to those 3 weeks off between now and the elimination final. So let's have a look at the highlights in the match. Of course, started here, Kaya Stevenson. Great delivery of this ball through to Amy Medwin. Just slots it home over the top of Sally James.
Yeah, quality vision by Kaya Stevenson. Just getting her head up, just dinking that ball into the far post behind Taylor Young onto the run of Amy Medwin. Kind of skidded past her. Looked a little bit awkward at first glance, but she was able to get onto it before Sally James came out and smothered it.
We saw then another strong opportunity. Again, Kaya Stevenson was so instrumental in that first half, just skipping past the face of goal there. Amy Medwin just couldn't control her touch there, but it was also really good defensive work from Sasha Grove.
Yeah, that was a huge opportunity, and a shame to see Kaya Stevenson have to go up with concussion. This ball into the box, looking for Michelle Heyman. But Chloe Lincoln coming out. I love that she didn't punch that. She actually caught it, was nice and strong, took it down. And this one, well, it was one of those like heart in throat moments. Emma Hawkins had a really good game, and Chloe Lincoln just dwelling on it a little bit. Hawkins with